Can this $50 microphone compare with a microphone that's about $550? Let's find out. Hello, I'm NihongoGamer. I'm testing out this Fifine AM microphone, which was sent to me by the company for testing for the purposes of making this video. And this is my personal microphone. It's an SM7B. I fell in love with the sound of this, especially during the 2020 sort of world shutdown time when everyone's like, we need to upgrade our audio quality so that we can do nice Zoom calls. It's an amazing sounding microphone, but it's actually a bit of a hassle to use. This microphone doesn't really work that well with standard consumer audio interfaces, so in order to get good, clean gain to make this microphone work at all, you need to buy like a cloud lifter as well. So I paid $470 for this microphone, and then $130 on top of that for this gain booster that would make it kind of actually sound decent on my consumer audio interface. But you are hearing this $600 setup side by side with this, the Fifine AM8. This goes for $57 retail price, and I think probably the average price is the sale price. It's at the moment it's $45 on Amazon. So obviously this comparison is completely unfair. All I really want to demonstrate today is if you already are familiar with my videos, or if this is even the first video you're watching, this is the microphone I've been using for the past 6 years basically. And I love the sound of it, but it is very expensive and, to be honest, a bit of a hassle to actually get it set up. The Fifine AM8 by comparison is significantly cheaper. We're talking $550 to $600 over here, and the Fifine comes in at $50. They're definitely not going to sound the same, but what I really want you to take away from this is that you can these days get pretty good sound quality for your videos or for your live streaming, or even if you're just doing Zoom calls, without spending a huge amount of money. But that being said, you probably do still want to spend the money and get a more expensive mic if podcasting is your thing. Now, before I show you the sound examples, I just want to show you how the features of this microphone compare to something like an SM7B. This is a USB microphone, which also has an XLR port. At $50, I'm actually kind of surprised because a lot of these cheaper microphones, they'll be like, okay, it's USB only, you can't go into an XLR cable. So you're listening to my voice through the XLR cable right now, but the important thing is that when you're using that cable, you don't have any power inside the microphone, which means you don't get all of the regular USB features like being able to change the gain of the microphone on here, being able to change the headphone volume on here, and you won't be able to mute the microphone. You also won't be able to change the RGB. And all of those are useful features, but something I will also say about this microphone is that it is a sort of top address microphone, so you speak directly into the tube. You don't speak into the side of it because that ends up kind of sounding kind of strange. So you want to be speaking directly into the tube of this microphone. And I think the idea is that, you know, it looks a bit more like a podcaster where you're like speaking into the tube and you don't just have this giant rectangle covering your entire face. But of course, when you are speaking directly down the tube, it means you can't actually see any of these controls. And the headphone volume, honestly, you can just turn it up and down. You don't need to be able to see it. What you do kind of want to be able to see is the stuff here on the front of this microphone. There's actually a microphone mute button here, and I can't actually see whether it's on or off while I'm directly addressing the microphone like this. Now, both of these microphones have pop filters built in, but if you have very, very poppy words, and usually if you go pop, 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 pop a lot when you speak closely to the microphone, you will still get pop, 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 pop. You still will get that air pumped straight into the microphone and a giant pop sound. So to some extent, these microphones are kind of protected from pop sounds, but it's not as good as having a giant pop filter in front of it. The important takeaway is that if you're making YouTube videos or live streams, it's protected enough. If you're podcasting, making videos or live streaming, this is honestly sufficient. All right, now I'm going to play you those sound samples so you can make up your mind as to whether you like the sound of this microphone. And then after that, I'm going to plug this in via USB so you can hear what that sounds like. An unrivaled clash of explosive proportions. The beloved BlazBlue franchise crosses universes, tags in fan favorites, and battles it out in BlazBlue cross-tag battle. An unrivaled clash of explosive proportions. The beloved BlazBlue franchise crosses universes, tags in fan favorites, and battles it out in BlazBlue cross-tag battle. Untitled Goose Game is a slapstick stealth sandbox where you are a goose let loose on an unsuspecting village. Untitled Goose Game is a slapstick stealth sandbox where you are a goose let loose on an unsuspecting village. Fan favorite 3D fighting game Dead or Alive 6 is back with stylish moves, striking animations, and a cast of colorful characters to go head to head in the fighting game world's most extreme battles. Fan favorite 3D fighting game Dead or Alive 6 is back with stylish moves, striking animations, and a cast of colorful characters to go head to head in the fighting game world's most extreme battles. Introducing the newest entry in the Soul Calibur series. Experience all new gameplay mechanics with the most beautiful graphics the weapon-based fighting genre has ever seen. Introducing the newest entry in the Soul Calibur series. Experience all new gameplay mechanics with the most beautiful graphics the weapon-based fighting genre has ever seen. Well, that's disappointing. I thought a game like Soul Calibur would have like a really long explanatory paragraph about the lore of the game, like Soul Calibur, the soul still burns, and follow your heroes Mitsurugi and Sophitia as they try to figure out how to take down the evil Voldo or something. I don't know. I thought there would be something kind of more epic. A bit disappointed. All right, let's do some more general tests. I'll speak directly into the Shure SM7B, and now I'll speak directly into the Fifine AM8. Does it sound much different? Don't know if it sounds much different. The other thing that does kind of change these things is if you're a little bit further away. A lot of people, when they are live streaming, they don't actually use an SM7B as it was intended to be used. Like, this mic sounds absolutely amazing if you eat it. Even in my own videos, I'm probably better off with a slightly different microphone. I get all the character of the SM7B, but I'm not making the most of it. If I really wanted to get the most out of this microphone, I would have to go like right up on top of it and speak into it like this, and then it would sound quite a lot better. But the truth is, I'm going to spend most of my time talking out here. What sometimes people do is they speak away from this microphone and then they move in for dramatic effect. So let's just see if we can do the same thing on the Fifine. I'm directly addressing the Fifine here. Let's say I'm talking to the camera like this and I've got the microphone just, in front of me, but not like right in front of me. It's not covering my face. If I'm talking into the Fifine, it sounds like this when I'm far away from it. But if I want to move in for some more dramatic effect, from my testing so far, it sounds like the quality is there, but it doesn't have the same EQ as the SM7. Like, it doesn't have the same frequency response as the SM7B. When you speak into the SM7B, if you're really, really close to it, or even if you're not too far away from it, it does have like a good amount of bass. It's not boomy, so if you're trying to sound commanding and well-informed, this isn't like the best microphone for that, but I think you're getting pretty darn close to the sound of a much, much more expensive setup with a mic that only costs $45. I assume that's kind of the average going price. Speaking directly into the Fifine, tell me, what do you think of the sound quality? All right, last but not least, I want you to hear the sound quality difference between the XLR cable and the USB cable. At the moment, I've actually got both going into the computer, and it does seem that you could use both at the same time if you want to. And there's plenty of good reasons why you might want to do this. Maybe you want the XLR cable going into your physical mixer so you can get just the right balance of the mix for your podcast, but then you want that full, clear, loud audio also being recorded through USB directly into a laptop or your computer. So amazing that you're able to use both. Anyway, just to demonstrate how annoying this mic mute button is being down here, you can't really see it, but I'll just show it to you like this. If I'm talking into the microphone like this, and then I press, you can see that only the audio gets cut out from the USB output. Of course, it's still coming out of the XLR because the XLR port has nothing to do with the electronic functions, the USB functions of this. Obviously, if I touch it again, it goes green and I can see that. It's very difficult to know whether your microphone is muted. All right, it's time for some conclusions about the Fifine AM8 microphone. Now, the reason you're probably here checking out my opinion on this microphone is because you've heard the sound quality in my videos and you're like, how does it compare to my usual mic versus this one, which is significantly cheaper? And hopefully this has been a good demonstration so you can tell for yourself whether the audio quality is up to scratch. Even if you have a very cheap microphone, you could make it sound quite good as long as you speak quite closely to it, which I assume is the reason why Gen Z always holds their microphone. The thing is, usually when you're using this microphone, you're going to have it on the stand, and at this height, I've actually got it sitting on the original box that it came in, and it's still not quite high enough to get it all the way up to my mouth and make it sound as good as it could, so I'd have to like lower my seat and get close to it, or honestly, the best thing you can do is just get yourself an actual boom stand or a boom arm that attaches to your desk like this, and that way you can get the mic as close as possible to your mouth and get that really podcasty sound. Even though it is a good sound for the price, it's not magic. You can't get the sound of the SM7B on this microphone, even with some EQ, I think it's going to be missing some things. And mostly, although it's pretty good overall, like it sounds like a microphone, and honestly, I was kind of blown away by the quality of it for this price. The thing is, it is missing that sort of mid-low end sound that you get from a microphone with a much wider frequency response. That's not to say that the SM7B is a perfectly transparent sound. Like, it has a character to it. So if you're looking for like the perfect, I'm just trying to document exactly what the sound was like, I don't even think the SM7B is really the right mic for that. The reason I chose this microphone, this one which costs $470, and I think it's like $550 if you get the one with the gain boost built in. The reason I chose it is because it sounds good to the ear for long sessions. So if you're a streamer, if you do podcasts, or if you make videos that are like 20 to 30 minutes long, anything that's longer than 5 or 6 minutes, you want to have a mic that doesn't sound like starts like grate on your ears. The Fifine, honestly, I'm impressed with the sound quality in short bursts, but even when I was like editing my own videos, like the past 2 or 3 videos I've edited using sound from here, and I didn't put any EQ on it or anything. I was like, why do my ears hurt more than usual? And I started to realize the quality of the sort of mid-range to treble range on here is a little bit shrill. Now that's not probably going to matter to most people because they're listening on their iPhones. Those frequencies probably aren't even being reproduced. My voice is a little bit more annoying when it's going through this microphone compared to this microphone, which I think the SM7B is well known for being, a very kind microphone on the vocals. It can make most people sound quite listenable. You've probably noticed that I've changed clothes, and that's because this is future NihongoGamer coming to you. I contacted the company about the software that runs on the PC. How do I download this software? Because it says your connection is insecure because it's not HTTPS. It says your connection is not private. Scammers might be trying to steal your information. I was like, well, even if I don't care about that sort of thing, if I suggest this microphone to people and they go to download the software, that's going to look a bit kind of sketchy. It's like, oh, I'll have to download this software. But turns out this microphone doesn't work with that software anyway. So I was trying to figure out, like, maybe is there anything more complex that I can do with the gain or the headphone volumes or the muting systems or the lighting on this microphone? Those functions aren't actually compatible with this because this is the cheaper version. This is the cheaper of their microphones. It's not compatible with their PC software. Honestly, I'm actually kind of relieved because I didn't want to, I just didn't want to download that software through their insecure connection. I was like, if the connection's insecure, I wonder what else is insecure about the software. That software is not even necessary for this microphone. So if you're buying this microphone and you're worried about the software, don't, because it doesn't require special software to work. If you are buying the more expensive microphones, I am a little bit concerned. I'm like, if you're going to want to use that, I think it's called the AmpliGame software. If you want to use that software, you have to download it through their insecure connection, and I don't know. I would quite like if they just got that fixed. So that's pretty much everything I have to say about this microphone. I think at this price, yes, it is an amazing value, but after having done some proper actual testing, like recording, I wanted to put it through its paces. I actually tested it on the past 3 videos I posted on my channel, and it feels kind of shrill. So it hurts my ears when I'm editing. If a microphone has issues, I will hear it through these headphones. So that's why I kind of like these headphones. It is a little bit shrill for me, and it is missing that body. I feel like you probably don't have to pay a lot more for a microphone to get a mic that gives you a bit more body. The thing is, if you want the sound of something like an SM7B, it is quite a lot more money. At the price they're asking for this thing, which when it's not on sale, it's still only like $57. It's got more features than a mic probably like $100. I kind of think of the fact that there's a microphone thrown in as a bit of a bonus. Anyway, it's not the mic that I would choose, but that was never the experiment. I just wanted you to hear the sound of what you get if you spend all your money and buy something really expensive versus, actually, is this actually kind of good enough for you at this price? Like, wow, you're basically spending no money at all and you're still getting a decent mic. Hopefully this has been a good demonstration for you. Anyway, that's all for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I've been NihongoGamer. I'll see you real soon. Proximity effect. Get right up to the microphone and sound like you have a very commanding voice.